What is going on, everybody, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as J.R.R, and thank you for joining me for the Siege of Helm's Deep. Stretched out before you, this vast beast inhabiting the plains, we have 10,000, yes, no less than 10,000 Uruk-hai who have been sent by Saruman to destroy the kingdom of Rohan and kill its king Theoden. And before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to Paladin Bob, who sent me the scenario. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun to play. And I'm going to put a link for this down in the description because it is so much fun that I think it should be shared. You guys can play this with your friends, or potentially with me if you'd like. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the rules, and then we can jump right into the scenario. The first and most important is that there is a large number of reinforcing armies for Rohan. You can see one of them here under Gandalf, who are going to have to wait for 45 minutes until they are allowed to engage, or until given the go-ahead. If the defenders begin to be overwhelmed, then the referee, which in this case is myself, is going to be able to give a go-ahead to the reinforcing armies and allow them to engage the Uruk-hai. But until then, yes, they have to sit pretty. Second is that the Rohirrim are required to defend these two choke points here. This is to represent the outer dike defenses of Helm's Deep, which the Rohirrim bravely defended in order to contest the passage of Saruman's armies into the plains in front of the fortress of Helm's Deep. They will be allowed to fall back eventually, usually when they start to be overwhelmed, but they are going to have to fight here for at least a little bit of time. Third and finally is that the Uruk-hai are required to fight on the deeping wall for 10 minutes before being able to blow up the wall and move the rest of their forces into the city. That's pretty much everything, I think, so let's go ahead and let's jump into the replay. And so it begins. The Uruk-hai here under Bobbington have managed to force their passage across the dike here very quickly, catching the defenders a little bit by surprise. So we've got a couple units of peasant axemen here alongside some lumbermen who are trying to hold back this storm of Uruk-hai. They're not doing terribly bad. They are very outnumbered, but they are managing to put up a nice fight here and take down a lot of the Uruk-hai. Over here, there is a catapult for the defending forces, and they're going to have to defend this position and do as much damage to the Uruk-hai with the catapult as possible. The catapult is far too slow to retreat to the keep. They've never been able to make it there before the Uruk-hai caught them, so they have to hold here for as long as possible with their axemen to inflict maximum casualties on the Uruk-hai. Let's check this out. This catapult here under Attila beginning to fire. Oh, a nice shot here, taking a huge toll on these Uruk-hai, just scything through the ranks, taking down a lot of the crossbowmen. It's a very nice, high-value target. The Uruk-hai are definitely going to have to try and hold on to their skirmishers if they want to easily storm the keep, because the Allied forces have quite a lot of archers to counter them. Here, though, let's just take this in for a moment. This very desperate conflict here. Some Orling axemen alongside some peasant axemen trying to hold them back, give the catapult time to do its bloody work. I've got a unit of Isengard here under Starling trying to outflank that position. They've managed to force their way across the passage and are now getting through the hills, and they're coming in to some of the archers of Peacekeeper here. This is a very desperate situation for these guys, although it looks like a lot of them got clipped in a volley from that catapult, which I don't think hit anything except for those poor unlucky Uruk-hai up there on the hill. Very chaotic battle, though. This catapult here is in a lot of trouble. Looks like Attila is now trying to fall back some of his peasant axemen to potentially protect this catapult or even outflank these Uruk-hai raiders. Looks like that might be what he's trying to do. No, he's actually falling them back to just into the front of the catapult so he can try and keep that artillery piece alive for as long as possible. Over here, things looking really desperate. The Free People's barely managing to hold back the Uruk-hai. This first push here from Bobbington, it looks like it got shut down quite badly, but he's brought in a second wave now. He's beginning to overwhelm the defenders. Over here, they have managed to push through the third choke point, and they are now thoroughly in control of this other choke point here, able to push around these Aeroling axemen rather, begin to outflank this unit and slowly begin to crush it. Over here, some Uruk-hai now in amongst these peasant axemen. The defenders are managing to hold on, but just barely. More and more waves of Uruk-hai now coming in here. We've got Dino Man 9877 pushing in some of his warriors to assist Bobbington's Uruk-hai, who are beginning to fall apart, actually, which is very surprising. These peasant axemen and those woodsmen really doing a great job. And it looks like we're going to see a retreat here as the Uruk-hai begin to overrun these positions. What remains of the outer defenders beginning to fall back in the face of this overwhelming onslaught. And look at this poor unit of peasant axemen here who's trying to defend the catapult to give it some more time. Unfortunately, just being overrun by the sheer weight of Uruk-hai being thrown against them. And now we're going to speed it up just a little bit. You can see, a little bit too fast. You can see the defenders now falling back over the plains, getting to the fortress as quickly as possible with the Uruk-hai of Bobbington in hot pursuit. Not going to let them get away so easily. These peasant archers under Vislak forming, I think, some of the slowest units. Yeah, look at this. They're going to start to turn around and begin to try and skirmish. But if they're not careful, they're going to get themselves caught out. Another big charge here. Some of these units... Oh, never mind. Peacekeeper thought better of it. He's going to begin to pull back some of his lumbermen as these Uruk-hai begin to form their shield wall. A very low strength unit of peasant axemen and Peacekeeper trying to fall back. The defenders really need every man that they can get inside of the keep to hold down the fortifications. Let's take a nice look here at the forces of Saruman as they begin to flood across the gap now. Firmly in control of the dike, they've begun to come into the fortress and form them, or into the plains surrounding the fortress, and are beginning to form themselves up for the final assault on the deeping wall and the keep. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward just a little bit, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Most of the defenders have managed to fall back into the keep, but this unfortunate unit of peasant archers could be very useful up there in the battlement, so this is very unfortunate for the defending players, now falling in battle to a unit of Uruk-hai who managed to catch up with them. Although it looks like they might slowly be trying to beat them back. No, actually those peasant archers definitely getting the worst of it. But look at this. Look at this flood of Uruk-hai just beginning to pour into the plains. And it's not just Uruk-hai either. Of course, at the battle in the books, there is a large number of Dunlendings. You can see a contingent of them right here. There's some clansmen and there's some veterans as well. Let's just take a look and appreciate this for a moment as the Uruk-hai begin to surge forward. This huge body of troops being driven forward by the will of Saruman to destroy the warriors of Rohan and deny Gondor any reinforcement from their northern ally. If Rohan falls here, there truly will be no dawn for men. The Rohirrim are instrumental in the defeat of Mordor at the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which of course leads to Sauron's defeat ultimately in the War of the Ring. That's almost all of the Uruk-hai now have managed to come across the dike and now beginning to form up for the assault. Looks like we've got some units here. We've got some ladders now approaching the walls. Oops. As the Sylvan Elves and alongside their Manish allies form up to defend the deeping wall from the oncoming hordes of Saruman. Let's see what we got here. Where are the Sylvan Elves? Here we are. Some of the Sylvan Elf swordsmen forming up on the wall, getting ready to receive these ladders. Archer fire being exchanged from either side. This is just so epic to watch. And up go the ladders. And here come the Uruk-hai. There they go, up those ladders. Look at this. So many of these guys. More and more of them now pouring forward, getting ready to assault the deeping wall. Another ladder here under some Dunlending clansmen getting ready to assault their hated rivals, the Rohirrim, who drove them out of their homes. They're now going to exact bloody revenge upon the warriors of Rohan. Over here you can see the Rohirrim. It looks like some of the peasant levies, or just random Rohirrim. I think they're supposed to represent peasant levies, although there were no peasant levies, I believe, at the Battle of Helm's Deep. There was a professional garrison of about 1,000 Rohirrim. So I'm going to say that these are the professional Rohirrim warriors who are fighting hard now against the Uruk-hai. The Uruk-hai are winning, but they are taking some pretty heavy losses in establishing this foothold up here on the deep wall. In the back, though, look at this. The Elven archers have formed up, ready to drive back any large concentration of attacking soldiers with accurate volleys of arrows. Beginning now to open fire upon the Uruk-hai. Yeah, you can see them getting some nice kills as the Uruk-hai try to come in and get up the ladders. Things looking very desperate here. The Uruk-hai have a very firm control, or a very firm foothold, rather, on this center portion of the deeping wall. It's going to be everything that the defenders can do, I think, to drive these guys back and prevent them from overrunning the defenses in just a few moments. Over here, the things looking very desperate. Those peasant axemen taking, I think, 2 ladders worth of warriors and not really able to slow them down. What remains of the forces up there, some sword militia, have now formed up down here, getting ready to prevent these Uruk-hai from getting into the Elven archers and giving them time to do their bloody work. The Elven archers now focusing their fire on the vulnerable flank of these Uruk-hai. I think they're going to do a lot of damage to these guys before the Uruk-hai can finish up with these peasant axemen and get off the walls to engage the archers. More and more Uruk-hai now streaming forward towards the ladders. I don't see any berserkers yet, but I'm sure we'll see them pretty shortly. Looks like some Dunlendings now moving forward to support the orcs. These poor misguided men under the influence of Saruman. Moving forward now to destroy one of the most powerful nations of the free peoples.
The enemy are battering down the gates.
Oh, and it looks like the gate now under assault. the forces of Saruman. This is the Dunlendings now who are manning the ram, forcing their way into the keep, beginning to batter down this gate and take the fight to the Rohirrim, who have formed up here. This is actually Boris Soviet Lovehammers myself. I have formed up a large unit, or a large formation of militia with some Aeorling swordsmen in the center, and I've got, of course, we've got some of the out defenders here who have formed up to help support this main defense at the gate. Let's take a look down here. You can see more and more Uruk-hai beginning to pour onto the walls. The archers up in the keep beginning to rain down death and destruction upon the heads of the warriors of Saruman as they come onto the deeping wall. And oh no, disaster! The Uruk-hai and the Dunlendings are now through the main gates. We're going to see a third assault now begin to open up at the gatehouse. These peasants here doing their best to hold back these very intimidating Uruk-hai alongside the Dunlendings, but slowly but surely the forces of Saruman are beginning to overrun the deeping wall. And this is getting very, very desperate here. There's a unit of peasant spearmen here who are kind of trapped up on the wall, not really able to escape, move forward, or to move backwards because they are just pinned in position by two large bodies of Uruk-hai. Over here, the regular Rohirrim troops under Vislak doing a little bit better. These Aeorling axemen holding back the Rohirrim, allowing the elves to do a lot of damage in flanking shots to those Uruk-hai infantry up there in that center portion of the wall. Over here, though, things absolutely disastrous. The Uruk-hai now free to move in from this right flank here and begin to take the fight to the sword militia down on the ground, who really aren't able to keep up with these Uruk-hai. They have managed to hold back the first wave of Uruk-hai, but they're now beginning to be overrun. It's the elves, I think, are going to have to charge in alongside the peasants in order to drive these guys back. But it would appear that the elves have begun to fall back to the keep. I've got a charge here from the Dunedain bodyguards. This is to represent Aragorn, charging in to drive back some of these Uruk-hai, doing a lot of damage to them, managing to drive them back, and save some of the Sylvan Heavy Archers. We're going to be, I think, very, very important later on. Oh, looks like one of these special unit abilities just got used. You can see some of that ballista fire from the Isengard ballista under Starling coming into this very concentrated blob of archers up here on the wall. I don't think they've managed to get anybody yet, but it's only going to be a matter of time. There is some crenellations up here that will allow those ballista shots to get through. Oh man, looks like a little bit of friendly fire here. Starling firing into the flank of his own Uruk-hai raiders, or his allies' Uruk-hai raiders rather. Things going for the Sylvan Heavy Archers here up on the wall, looking to get a nice flank shot that would take out quite a lot of them. The archer force up here is very stacked though. A lot of Helmingas, a lot of Sylvan Archers, and some of the defenders from the outer wall. And they're doing a great job here at supporting this defense here down at the gate. But the forces of Saruman and the Dunlendings are beginning to push through. Just not enough of us, unfortunately, to hold them back for an indefinite period of time. I think at this point we're going to need some of these Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen to move into the gate and help us defend it. I formed up a unit of my own Rittermark Axemen here to hold this choke point. The Uruk-hai now firmly in control of the wall, the deeping wall on the left-hand side, beginning to move up here, but I was ready for them. I had a unit of Aeorling swordsmen ready to greet them, alongside a unit of Helmingas who are now out of ammunition. And we're going to be able to flank these guys and try and hold the keep wall for as long as possible. This is going to be a very, very important engagement for the defenders. More of Starling's shots coming in here, getting ever closer. Oh no, we might see a little bit of a... Oh, luckily these elven soldiers were protected here. These are the Sindar under Legolas, protected from that shot by the crenellations on the wall. Down here, though, Saruman now firmly in control of the deeping wall. The defenders have been driven back just about everywhere. There is a unit here of axemen under Vislak, and it looks like they're just going to go for a glory charge and charge into the rear alongside what remains of this peasant unit, though it looks like they are, in fact, routing. He's going to charge into the rear of these Uruk-hai and try and get as many kills as possible. Down here, the Uruk-hai now taking this little courtyard area. Really nothing left of the defenders down here. It looks like a lot of those peasant axemen got slaughtered in combat against those Uruk-hai. So really heavy losses on the part of the defenders. We've lost 36% of our warriors at this point, whereas Saruman has only lost about a fifth of his soldiers. Still, fairly impressive for what we had to deal with, but yeah, just not enough. We've lost so many of our soldiers here. It's going to be a really desperate fight from here on out. Luckily, though, the keep is well defended. You can get a nice aerial shot of it from up here. There's still some Royal Guard, and of course, a mounted unit of Royal Guard under Theoden left to throw into the battle against Saruman. We got some more of the outer defenders here coming down to support the Dwarven Noblemen under Gimli and a unit of Sylvan Archers. Looks like they're coming down into the gatehouse, trying to help me drive back the forces of Saruman. They're taking a lot of damage right here, but they are managing to push through. My spearmen now down to almost nothing. My Aeorling swordsmen down to a mere 4, so they've broken our center. This is where some of the berserkers have been committed. So So this is a really desperate fight for us. The attackers are, I think, doing a really good job. That's oh no! Disaster has struck. The deeping wall has now been breached. The mine has destroyed the deeping wall. But as I was saying, the attackers have done a great job at picking their engagement. So using the berserkers here, where our line was definitely the thinnest, with some of the more weaker troops, was a good decision. As it has allowed them to push through here with, I think, a minimal amount of losses. Still heavy, as it is a choke point that is well supported by archers from above. But yeah, very good decision on their part. Over here, it looks like the Uruk-hai are beginning to be driven back a little bit. They've got forces on either side of them, including some Sindar archers, who you don't want to mess with. And yeah, they're surrounded, slowly beginning to be driven back off the walls. You can see quite a lot of dead Dunlendings, alongside a large number of Uruk-hai as well. Over here, now that the breach has been established, you can see the Uruk-hai just surging forward, beginning to pour through that gap and move into the keep to assault the remaining defending forces under King Theoden. Let's fast forward that just a little bit here. Look at this. There's the sea of Uruk-hai moving in. Saruman's forces now firmly in control of half of the fortress of Helm's Deep. Really, all the defenders have left for them is that they are really in control of is this area up here, and that's going to fall quickly as well. If they manage to take the gatehouse from us, they'll be able to move up here, take down the Sylvan archers, and then move through this area into the main keep and outflank any defending forces inside. Unless, of course, we can stop them. Over here, it looks like the Uruk-hai have engaged some of the defenders from the outer wall alongside. There's a very large spirited defense here. There's some hunters that are now out of ammunition, some Sylvan elves. So things could turn around for us here if we can hold these Uruk-hai long enough to deal some serious casualties to them. The reinforcements will be able to come in, because I think we're at about 20 minutes at this point. So we're about almost at the halfway mark. So we just have to hold out for just a little bit longer. And our defending forces our reinforcement armies will be able to come in and try and save us. This is a little bit disastrous, though. Unfortunately, our defense here at this archway is being outflanked by a large number of Uruk-hai and Dunlendings who have broken through the last of the defenders at the gatehouse, now beginning to push in and swarm this defending position. I can see what's happening, so I'm going to move out some of my Eorling axemen, who are very elite and very good at dealing with these heavily armored Uruk-hai. You can see them getting now some early kills against these Uruk-hai. These Uruk-hai being absolutely butchered by my Riddermark axemen. And so this is a fairly viable place to defend. Even if they manage to break through here, we can put up a defense here and support the defenders from above with our archers. But for how much longer, though? Look at this. More Uruk-hai reinforcements now pouring into this breach. They begin to thin out my Helmingas on this side, but there is still some Sindar archers and I believe some Elven swordsmen, although they are down to a simple one Elven swordsman at this point. But if they want to move in and take on these Sindar archers in close combat, it's going to be a very tough fight for the Uruk-hai. Over here, these Helmingas not doing too bad. There's a massive Uruk-hai here, but they can only bring a few of their numbers to bear, so it's going to be a fairly even fight, I think. They may even favor the Helmingas because they do have an AP damage. Yeah, they have AP damage. They can do a lot of casualties to the Uruk-hai. Wow, it's hard for me to talk today. Up here is the Sylvan Heavy Archers. This is what we feared. The Uruk-hai and the Berserkers from the Gatehouse now pouring in, looking to overrun this position and allow them access into the keep to outflank the defending choke point. You can see right here underneath this archway. It's a very desperate fight now going on all over the place. 50% of the defenders have now been killed, alongside 30% of the warriors of Saruman. That's quite a lot. That's it's almost a third of his army, so about 3,000 give or take Uruk-hai have fallen in battle. Down here, so many Uruk-hai forces now in command of this area, just biding their time, waiting. They smell blood and they are hungry for man flesh. And I think that they're going to have it, because the Uruk-hai now beginning to push through that archway and begin to swarm against my Riddermark axemen, who I have backed up with a unit of Helmingas. I'm determined to make a defense out here. I think we still have the numbers at this point to do so, but yeah, I don't really want to give up this gatehouse very easily. We've still got some a fairly strong unit of Sylvan Heavy Archers, some Dwarven Noblemen, a couple units of Royal Guard, alongside some Dunedain Bodyguards. We've definitely got the forces, I think, to defend this choke point, but of course we have to be worried about warriors coming in from behind. But luckily, we've got another unit of Sylvan Heavy Archers up here. These guys have managed to get out of the fray and be fairly strong while doing so. Looks like they're going to start putting down some flanking fire now into those Uruk-hai and those Berserkers in order to lend their brothers across the way. That 30-strong unit of Sylvan Heavy Archers is a little bit of aid. You can see them now beginning to open up on these guys. And that's going to be pretty devastating, I think, for the forces of Isengard. So really nice move here from Pope Fluffy Duck, who has definitely read the situation well and using his troops to great effect. It's starting to get a little bit choppy. A lot of troops now pouring into a single area. Look at all these Uruk-hai swarming against my warriors. These Helmingas and these Riddermark Axemen slowly being driven back, but dealing as good as they get in return to the Uruk-hai. A full third of the attackers now have been destroyed. About 3,333 Uruk-hai now dead on the field. More and more Uruk-hai beginning to pour in. I think we're going to see the reinforcements arrive soon. It's definitely a desperate defense inside the city. Where is the horse and the rider? Where is the horn that was blowing? Hopefully we'll find out pretty shortly. More Uruk-hai reinforcements now coming in. Looks like the attackers are now looking to move in for the kill and overrun this last position, which is very thinly defended. We're definitely going to have to start pulling some of our troops, I think, off of the walls in order to hold this position. Otherwise, they're going to be inside the keep and they're going to be able to surround us and destroy us at this final defense. Over here, it looks like these Sylvan Elves they're doing well, but they are slowly being killed off. 21 now left in that unit. These Uruk-hai taking a lot of flanking fire. You can see a lot of dead Uruks up on the wall, but it's just not enough. Just not enough. Sounds like Gandalf. Gandalf is saying something. It looks like... Oh yeah, here it comes. The Rohirrim reinforcements have arrived under Erkenbrand and Gandalf. You can see Gandalf leading the charge down here, and there's some Uruk-hai pikemen under Bobbington to greet him. Very much like the movies. But it looks like the cavalry under the reinforcements is going to try and scoot around this pike formation. Unlike Gandalf in the movies, they don't want to run right into it because that would be disastrous. See, one of the forces here under myself, I've got a unit of Rohan bodyguards who are now trying to move around this column of Uruk-hai pikemen who aren't in formation because they're a little bit surprised at the arrival of these horsemen. Over here from the rear, you can see another unit of horsemen pouring in, some Riddermark skirmishers, alongside a second unit of Riddermark skirmishers, and another force here coming in to try and break this siege. A huge number of Rohirrim coming in to save their king. And the only thing really standing in their way is some of the forces of Starlight. 24 Uruk-hai. It looks like these guys were routing off the field and managed to reform, but unfortunately for them, they're going to get rushed and completely devastated by that Rohirrim cavalry. Oh no, it looks like Gandalf just died in battle to some pikemen. He wasn't able, unfortunately, to scoot past the pike wall before the Uruk-hai were able to close in on him. So Gandalf has fallen again, and I'm sure he'll be back, though. And whiter than before. Looks like some of these were here. Yeah, we've managed to scoot a large number of our horsemen around the pike formation, which is in battle now against some of my Royal Guard, and they're really having a hard time against them. I charged them from behind originally, but the Uruk-hai pikes managed to turn around, get themselves back into formation, and do a lot of damage to my Rohirrim Royal Guard. So in response to this, I've got a unit of, there they are, some of my Riders of the Fold. I'm going to use them to exact revenge upon these Uruk-hai pikemen. Look at this, a massive charge now going into the rear of these pikemen. Some of the Rohirrim Riders charging hard into the battle, and a lot of those pikemen are going to get caught out of position from Bobbington, and they're going to take a lot of damage. Look at that, it was a devastating charge. And then those pikemen, or those Rohirrim Riders under Vislok, going to pull out immediately. We've got a unit of bodyguards now under myself, coming into the rear of these pikemen, just being absolutely relentless. We're trying to break through so we can bring all of our forces to bear upon the army of Saruman very quickly. Looks like this unit of pikes now beginning to rout here. They're going to rout right through the enemy army. We've got some more air raid heavy lancers coming into battle, looking to rout the rest of this pike line that's being held down by some Eorling axemen. So things looking pretty good for the defenders now that their reinforcements have arrived. Although over here, these pikemen under Dinoman have managed to form up, and they're giving a lot of trouble to the free people, or the Rohirrim Riders rather, under Peacekeeper. There's some arrows from the skirmishers coming in the back. You can see some Cantabrian circles being formed as they begin to punish the Uruk-hai with some devastating enfilading fire. And it looks like they took quite a lot of damage from that in a very short period of time. Back here, the cavalry just running amok, and the Uruk-hai aren't too sure what to do. There's a lot of them in here, and it looks like some of them now trying to move out to form a defense against the Rohirrim. Up here, the siege on the keep is pretty much going as planned for the Uruk-hai. We're doing a lot of damage to our warriors. They've now begun to move in to our final defending position, which is where the Dwarven noblemen under Gimli, alongside the Royal Guard, are stationed. This is the final defense for Rohan, and we're going to have to really be careful about how we defend this. Over here, it looks like most of the Uruk-hai have been driven back. The Elven archers have been completely destroyed, but there's still some more Sylvans up here. It looks like they still have ammunition, so anything that tries to come across this causeway is going to get shot down by the vigilant archers of the Woodland Realm up there. And there's still more of them up here too under King Floppy Duck, so the keep is still looking pretty good. It can hold out for quite a while, assuming that the forces down here can deal enough damage to the Uruk-hai to destroy them and relieve the defenders. Oh yeah, it says victory is certain for the Uruk-hai. Starting to run out of a little bit of steam here. A lot of the attacking cavalry has gone down. Look at this. So many of them have fallen in battle to these pikemen. We just weren't able to break that spear wall. Cycle charge is going in. We're now beginning to overrun this pike unit. You can see some of them in the back now fleeing for their lives under Starling. Not really in any sort of formation. Not able to put up a stout defense against these cavalry who are just all over the place, just overrunning them in every position. Down here we have some infantry under Pope Fluffy Duck, and actually this is just all of Pope Fluffy Duck's infantry. Now moving in to engage the Uruk-hai at the gate, looking to overrun them. We've got some of my Rohirrim bodyguard in there as well, as alongside some riders of Rohan from Vislak. And the Uruk-hai are being forced now to commit some of their forces from inside the keep. Starling's army now moving out to try and engage the Rohirrim. We're launching this surprise attack on their back lines. The Uruk-hai being caught completely by surprise, trying to get themselves back in a position of strength so that they can drive back the Rohirrim. Still looking pretty good for them here. Look at all this cavalry looking for an opportunity to get some nice hammer and anvil strikes. Over here, this unit of Uruk-hai infantry being completely slaughtered by some Royal Guard alongside some sword militia. A nice charge coming in from the back. Look at that, those Rohirrim riders absolutely devastating that Uruk-hai. So the Rohirrim defenders, I think at this point, are doing a really good job at isolating the Uruk-hai as they come out and riding them down with their mobile horsemen. Over here, these pikemen taking a big charge here, but unfortunately for those Rohirrim riders, they weren't able to deal the damage they needed to, and a lot of them are going to fall in combat against those pikemen. Another charge coming in here from Peacekeeper's ally, Vislak, looking to finish off that unit of pikemen. Slowly but surely, they are being destroyed. I think they're now down to like 5 or 6 in the unit. Or maybe 26, close enough. But over here, you can see a lot of dead horsemen. So slowly but surely, we are being driven back. 62% of the Uruk-hai now have fallen, but these pikes are really giving the Uruk-hai, or the defending Rohirrim reinforcements, a lot of trouble, actually. Look at this, just a huge pile of dead Rohirrim. That's devastating for the defenders. It's going to be hard to see. Looks like the Eorling Axemen here, alongside the Sword Militia, beginning to be driven back. What we need right now is a big hammer and anvil strike from these Riddermark skirmishers under Pope Fluffy Duck, hopefully. But over here, looks like I lost a little bit of micro here on my unit of Royal Guard. They are getting caught by a unit of Uruk-hai, so I see what's happening. I'm going to move them out. I'm going to try and move them into the back here to give these defending infantry the support that they need to be done with this large body of Uruk-hai, so we can move on to potentially taking down some of these bodyguards and some of the remaining pike units. Look at this, a massive charge going into the back of these Uruk-hai. Being absolutely devastated. It's not going to be enough to rout them, though. They have the morale, and they have the numbers at this point. But still, a really nice charge there into the rear of those Uruk-hai. You can see quite a lot of them fell. But the Uruk-hai absolutely relentless here, chasing this unit, looking to potentially overlap the flank of these infantry here, which would be disastrous for them. But luckily, they seem to be a little bit focused on my Royal Guard, which I think is in our advantage. We've got a unit of Arid Heavy Lancers now routing into the keep, trying to get to the town center there, but I don't think it's going to go very well for them. Looks like there's a charge into the rear. Oh, wow, look at this. A charge into the rear of the Uruk-hai, helping the Royal Guard push out of this gate and potentially reoccupy this position down here if they're quick enough to move. The Uruk-hai see what's happening, though. They're going to commit more of their forces now from down here in this courtyard to try and take back what they've lost. But the Uruk-hai are taking a lot of losses right now. A huge amount of loss. You can just see so many dead Uruks out here in the field. But they are beginning to overrun, I think, the limited numbers of the defenders. This Rohirrim cavalry not able, I think, to deal the damage they need to. to these Uruk-hai, who they're not really formed up. They're not really presenting a formation. It's all very fluid, and they're just constantly moving. So it's hard to really nail down a decisive charge against them. Yeah, defeat is almost certain for the defenders. 85% of them killed, compared to 72%, 73 now of the attackers. The Uruk-hai raiders, looks like some pikemen taking a big charge from some of the Royal Guard, who are starting to thin out. There's only about 23 of them left, down to, I think, about 2/3 of the unit. And the Uruk-hai raiders are suffering quite badly, though. Over here, the Uruk-hai have managed to overrun the defending infantry, and they've lost a huge number of soldiers here. This is really devastating for them. Now, some of the skirmishers under Pope Fluffy Duck trying to get into the rear of these Uruk-hai, potentially try and rout them, but it's just not enough. We just don't have the soldiers left to do it at this point. So I'm going to pull out some of my Royal Guard. I'm going to try and get them over here in and around the Uruk-hai, and go for another nice hammer and anvil charge. I'm not sure who that was, but I think it might have been Legolas. I think Legolas just fell in battle. His Sindar bodyguard has been fighting for a really long time up here. They've definitely reaped a bloody toll. Sorry about that, we had a little bit of a crash. But we are back now, and as I was saying, yes, the Sindar archers have managed to reap a terrible toll amongst the Uruk-hai. You see, just so many of them have died up here on the wall. This very powerful bodyguard unit has fought pretty much to the last man. They're down to 22. They've lost 3/4 of the unit. They are now starting to be a little bit shaken, but they are still hacking down Uruk-hai left and right. Look at them go. It's amazing to watch. But down here, it looks like the forces of the Uruk-hai have managed to drive us back. There is a unit of Sylvan Heavy Archers here under Fluffy Duck. I was trying to support my Royal Guard, who have now kind of extended themselves a little bit too far forward. This is definitely a micro mistake on my part. I didn't realize how far my Royal Guard were getting, and what they should be doing is coming back here to try and support these Sylvan Heavy Archers, because a line of Royal Guard alongside some Sylvan Heavy Archers will be able to hold this for a very long time. It wouldn't be in this position right here. So, yeah, definitely that's my bad, but things aren't completely disastrous. We still have a unit of Sylvan Heavy Archers, and of course we still have Lord Theoden's bodyguard. Although we are a little bit reduced now, because we didn't see it earlier. But some of the Uruk-hai are now beginning to push through here, and yeah, we don't really have enough warriors left to defend ourselves. So the Dwarven noblemen under Gimli doing their best to hold back that tide. What I should be doing is moving in there with my Rohan bodyguards to try and support them. But unfortunately, I'm a little bit occupied now down in the valley. I can see some of our remaining cavalry doing their best to mop up the Uruk-hai reinforcements. I've still got a very healthy unit of riders with full here, but for the most part, our reinforcements down here have been pretty well annihilated. Yeah, the Uruk-hai are now free to be able to move their warriors back inside the keep to continue the siege of Lord Theoden and his warriors, who are trapped now and pretty much surrounded with no help coming at all. The only kind of cav we have left is like a few units of Royal Guard and some riders of the fold, but I think most of my allies now have been driven back. There's a little bit here under Vislock, and I think Peacekeeper has some as well, hiding out here somewheres. Over here I've got this very tiny unit of Rohan bodyguard doing their best, but honestly, there's just so many Uruk-hai, and we are spent at this point. We have nothing left. We're at 93% of us have been killed, as opposed to 80% of the Uruk-hai. Still quite impressive. We managed to do a lot of damage to Saruman's army, but I don't think we have the steam left to see us through to the end of this. Oh, let's take a look. Now down here, it looks like the last of my Royal Guard have been dealt with. Ah, damn this camera. Last of my Royal Guard have been dealt with, now down to about 10. Unfortunately, they were so far out of position that they just pushed farther than they needed to. The Sylvan Elf Archers from Peacekeeper have been overrun. Now what remains of them is down here on the ground. 30 of them now remaining, fighting hard against the Dunlending bodyguards, trying to wipe them out. Over here, we do have some Sylvan Heavy Archers trying to back up Gimli alongside my cavalry. Gimli's in there somewhere. He's not going to die for quite some time. But we just don't have enough here. We need to be able to finish with these guys quickly. But there's 146 of them, and we don't have the numbers to kill them that fast. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. The Sylvan Heavy Archers now beginning to fall down to 22. We could see a rout here if this continues. Yeah, the Dunlendings alongside the Uruk-hai just pushing through. I think there's some Berserkers in there as well. You can see those distinctive hooked swords of theirs in the back. Very, very scary silhouette. A flash of lightning, and you can see those blood-hungry monsters in the back wanting to get in there and dine upon the flesh of these elves, which I'm sure they've never had before. But out here, yeah, we've got a few units of cavalry. My Riders of the Fold now down to 39. Just launching as many brutal cavalry charges into these Uruk-hai as we can, trying to kill as many of them as possible. Maybe cause some kind of route that will allow us to bring some of our forces into the keep. But I think it might be too little too late at this point. See, back up here. Peacekeeper, yeah, he's still got a little bit of cavalry, 4 units of Riders of Rohan, but for the most part, he's completely gone. I'm now charging my Riders of the Fold here downhill into this very small unit of Uruk-hai crossbows who are trying to reload and begin to shoot at us, but hopefully we'll be able to get in there before they manage to deal any real damage and wipe them out. Look at that. A nice charge there. A lot of these crossbows are going to go down. That's going to be the end of that crossbow unit. We're just slowly kind of trying to prevent the Uruk-hai from being able to present a united front. We want to draw them into smaller engagements and try and run them down with what remains of our cavalry, but so far it's not going so great. I mean, I've got a unit of Rohan Riders in there. Or no, that's Vislak has got some Rohan Riders in there, but I had some Royal Guard trying to assist him. My once proud unit of 23 now down to a mere 8. And we're just not able to kill these Uruk-hai infantry fast enough, despite our best efforts. Although, surprisingly enough, it looks like Aragorn is actually out here. I've got some Dunedain bodyguards under Aragorn, trying to give us a little bit of an assist. We are definitely thankful because they have 11 in that unit, which is quite a significant amount of numbers. But yeah, there's just not enough of us. My Riders of the Fold here now finishing up with those crossbows, looking to reform for another downhill charge into these Uruk-hai raiders, which would be absolutely devastating. But over here, let's take a look at how things are going in the keep. Not great. Lord Theoden is now brought to bay alongside what remains of the Elven archers. The valiant unit of about 20 or so have now fallen, being cut down by the orcs and the berserkers alongside the Dunlendings. I think Lord Theoden is still in there. There he is, fighting hard, cutting down one of the berserkers of all things, trying to defend his kingdom, getting another nice kill there. But there's just not enough of us, and we're now slowly beginning to be surrounded. These heavy Sylvan archers not able to... Oh no, disaster has struck. Lord Theoden has fallen. And in this battle, that means that we automatically lose. So now the Rohirrim, hearing of the death of their lord, hearing his final death wail, are now going to go for glory alongside what remains of the Dunedain. So I've got my unit of Riders of the Fold holding down a unit of Uruk-hai, and then from the rear we can see some of the Dunedain alongside what remains of the Rohirrim Riders, and I think some Royal Guard as well, charging into the rear, hoping to wipe these guys out once and for all.
Our foe has taken control of the castle.
Yes, indeed they have. Saruman's Uruk-hai have accomplished their goal. The Kingdom of Rohan is now bereft of its leader, and his heir, Eomer as well, was at this siege, and now he has fallen in battle against the Uruk-hai. This is just a complete disaster for the Free Peoples. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to speed up just a little bit here, and yeah, there's a little bit of our cavalry left, still trying to mop up what remains of the Uruk-hai, but there's maybe 50 horsemen left at this point. Not going to be enough, I think, to break the lines of Isengard. But we are going to form up here. You can see a last glorious charge going for that unit of Uruk-hai infantry that Bobbington has stationed to defend the causeway. Let's watch the results of this. The final charge of the Rohirrim. The horn of Helm Hammerhand sounding in the deep one last time. Yeah, the Uruk-hai now in control of the castle. We're starting to lose it. We only got a couple minutes left. Whoops, I'm sorry. A gigantic charge going off here from those Dunedain bodyguards. Oh, wow, did you see that? One of the Rohirrim riders, I think, now getting impaled on something, flying forwards off of his horse. And what remains of our cavalry now trying to fight hard against the Uruk-hai, but there's just not enough of us. And the Uruk-hai are surrounding us now and beginning to cut us down. Those Dunedain bodyguards now down to 5. They're just getting absolutely slaughtered. I'm going to pull out with what remains of my Riders of the Fold and go for one final charge alongside what remains of my allies. A few Rohirrim riders here trying to break through this group of units on the causeway. We only managed to kill about 40-ish, so really not the best charge for us. Let's see what's going on over here. Maybe we see another unit of bodyguards. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is Starling's bodyguards. This is the Uruk-hai commander right here. It's too late, though. Even if we kill him and manage to rout the army, we've already lost the battle. We've lost King Theoden. Doing a lot of damage to these bodyguards, not as much as we would like to. A lot of my warriors getting caught there and cut down. Another charge coming in from the rear. This looks like the remaining Rohirrim riders from Vislak, alongside the warriors from Peacekeeper, looking to get another nice lance charge in there. And there goes the Uruk-hai general. So this has been a disaster for Rohan, but Saruman has also lost his army as well. So there will be no Uruk-hai coming from the north to assist Mordor, but neither will there be any Rohirrim charge at the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which would prove decisive to defeat the forces of Mordor. Let's go ahead and let's fast forward now. And that's pretty much the end of it. Down to the last 50 seconds here. Not enough horsemen left. Looks like Gimli now has fallen in the fortress. Gimli, Aragorn, and Legolas, a complete nightmare for the Free Peoples. And just fast forward here, just see the end of this battle. There we go. You start to see the admit defeats, and that is the end of the Siege of Helm's Deep. Let's just take a moment here and appreciate all of the slaughter that happened here. Great slaughter up on the walls. We held the Deeping Wall for as long as we could, and then we held the keep for even longer. But unfortunately, the Uruk-hai were too many, and the Kingdom of Rohan has fallen this day. That's it for the replay. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you next time. Probably going to be one of our regular series. I'm thinking either 4th Age or For Honor, one of those two. Maybe even some Deathwing, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Oh, that's my bad. I forgot to show you the final casualty screen. The forces of King Theoden, being commanded by myself, got almost 3,000. Everybody did really well. Unfortunately, Gimli wasn't able to get too many kills, but he didn't really have a whole lot of an army anyway. He just had an infantry unit, whereas like Aragorn and Legolas had archers and cavalry, so a little bit easier to get some kills with. Let's take a look here. I think one of my riders at the fold, yeah, look at this. 446 kills. But yeah, it was an awesome battle. Thank you to Paladin Bot for the scenario, and I'll see you guys next time with one of our regular series. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye!